know who you are, and so we're going to have to talk about.
See you guys.
So long, Brandon. So we're going to have to let everybody know who you are and what you're doing
Or not doing.
Yeah.
I'm not doing time.
Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. So today I have a special guest joining me for the Sunday happy hour, my very good friend, Mac McMurray. Now your actual name is Michael, and I've never called you Michael until today.
For some reason you walked in and said, "Hello, Michael."
And I think that's what I want to do. Yeah.
Is my mom here?
From now on, I think that's what because Mac is just sort of your last name shortened.
Right. So 100 years ago, working in all kinds of offices and whatnot, there's always 6, 7, 8 mics. And And so a buddy of mine, TK, playing cards, we used to play every Thursday, started calling me Mac. And then when I really started playing a lot of music out live, I just said, well, it's so much easier to say Mac than Mike or Michael. And he's Mike. Oh, which Mike? There's 1,300 of them in any particular place at any given time. So
many. Have you ever heard P-Lander Z? They have a song called "So Many Mics." They're a band from Japan, and one of the songs that they have is about how many people in America are named Mike, which is
it was the most popular name from like 1942 to like 80.
That is 90. My middle name is Mike.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it's actually Michael McMurray II.
The Deuce.
Yeah,
El Duce.
El Dad is number. El Dad Reno is number 1. My son is number 3.
So we are going to be talking about a lot of things tonight, and I'm very happy to have Michael with me today, Mac, because he is a blues guy, and maybe more than a lot of people I know. And so today I have a poll that I do.
Okay. And
the poll today was, do you think the Robert Johnson Crossroads myth is actually about Tommy Johnson? And 13% of you said yes.
Or was it about Tommy John, the pitcher from the Dodgers who had that surgery on his elbow? That's
no. So Tommy Johnson actually was a contemporary of Robert Johnson. It is not a contested thing that he also sold his soul at the Crossroads.
Okay.
And in the 70s, his brother Liddell Johnson told the story. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit tonight, because it's October. It's kind of maybe some spooky stories because it's Halloween time. And
we know spooky people.
And anytime you can have stories about the devil and crossroads and stuff,
I like it.
I was talking with a very dear friend of mine about the blind owl from Canned Heat.
Yes.
And I was in New Mexico, and driving through rural New Mexico was kind of like a time machine. And get to your stop and it'd be 1928. Yeah. And so I was listening to a lot of Canned Heat, and I was like, I bet you if they were in this, the old Canned Heat van or whatever, they were probably on this road at one point, and how it didn't really look very different. But anyway, so and it got me thinking, the Blind Owl is a member of the 27 Club, just like Robert Johnson.
Yep.
However, Tommy Johnson lived to be 50 something. So, but we're going to talk about that coming up here.
I like it.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that this was the topic until you heard it
just now.
And now I've heard it.
So what you might be wondering though is the guy to my left, your right, doesn't look anything like Chris Fesker. So Chris's sister is in town, and she's a lovely lady, and they're doing some family stuff.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice.
So and
Chris is lovely in his own right.
Chris is yes.
And talented.
The lovely and talented Chris.
But not beguiling, because that would denote somebody else we all know.
No,
and love.
And she is not here either. The very stunning Mrs. Toast is not here. I called her just a moment ago, and I'm like, and she answered the phone. Hello. And I'm like, so you're at home and not going to move off the couch. You're glued to the couch. Yeah, I'm really tired and sore. And do you know why she is tired and sore?
Did it have anything to do with a particular lounge that may be upright?
That's right.
And not uptight.
So I spent the last 3 nights having a lot of fun with my friend Jim at the Upright Lounge and his wife Leslie. I always forget. I always say with Jim, but Leslie's always there too. So,
which I don't know if I have met, but Jim and I go way back, and it's been a long time since we've seen each other. So we need to say hello, and I need to come over if I'm invited. Because restraining orders.
Sure. You don't want to. You don't want to get too far in the weeds with that.
Yeah. With my parole officer.
So I spent the last 3 nights hanging out with Jim and Leslie and lots of other people too. Joy was there for a couple nights and her sons were there a few times. And so it was really fun. And Carrie Ann was there the last 2 nights. And it's the first night, Thursday night, I may have had one too many.
Would this be in the category of over-serving yourself?
Yeah. But Saturday and Sunday, I showed a lot of restraint because I had to operate a motor vehicle. Now Carrie Ann on the other hand,
tools at some point.
Carrie Ann on the other hand didn't have to operate a motor, so she was free to pursue her Upright Lounge endeavors with reckless abandon.
The groove, get her groove on.
She wanted to get her swerve on.
Nice.
So Thursday night was the first night of the Bangkok Taser shot.
So, for those of you who don't know, I watch every last one of these videos that come out on Friday night, on Thursday, the question and answer. I see every one of those.
Okay,
I see every Sunday. I've been coming to the shop since
before it was even
when it was in the old shop.
Yeah,
and you've mentioned that a few times way in the past, and you've resurrected this idea, and I've seen the lead up to this.
So
I work at a liquor store, and we most certainly do not carry the Jeremiah weed. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. So a friend of mine who lives in Thailand, he and his buddy, he's always been a crazy person. And he and his buddies used to do this thing.
If it has a taser involved and it's recreational, I would have to say it's got to be crazy.
Now, it's a stun gun, not a taser. So a taser is a brand name.
Oh, so we don't want to get sued.
No, well, I also think that a taser is a law enforcement tool and has maybe a little more efficacy than just shock and awe.
Does it actually shoot things?
The taser, the stuff that the policemen carry have things that like the probes that shoot out. What we have is one of those cheapo stun guns,
which I saw in your video.
Cost $9.99,
which I have not seen since I've been here today. Thankfully.
That's because it's at the Upright Lounge.
Good.
It's a fixture at the Upright Lounge.
Don't tase me, bro.
Yeah. The problem with saying "don't tase me, bro" is it contains the sentence "tase me, bro."
Oh.
Anyway, there's a video of a bunch of us doing Bangkok Taser shots. So Jim, we don't have any Jeremiah weed, but Jim has this stuff called Slevo, and it's a moonshine that they make back where he's from, and it's
with the last name like whatever it is.
Kaloje, yeah, Jamm Jimmy, and so they drink. So it's moonshine, and so you do drink of this shot, and it's awful. It's like Lysol and gasoline mixed together. And
better than that?
No, it's not better than that. Oh. And then we shock each other. You get shocked by someone else, by one of your buddies does it to you.
So you do the shot first, then the shock, or shock, then the shot, then another shot?
Well, generally speaking, you do the shot first, and then you get the shock from the stun gun. Now, I don't know. You don't know when the shock's coming. So
does that then lend itself to the excitement of the
moment? Especially if there's 2 people doing it. You don't know if you're going to go first or second. Anyway, so the Bangkok Taser shot was wildly fun, and a lot of people had a really good time with it. So anyway.
Like I say, sounds like my kind of party.
If you are signed up for the November class, Build and Paint with Mike Learn and Texas Toast, you will be invited, and I think a lot of you guys already know who you are. You're probably already planning on spending the weekend at the Upright Lounge. Oh, the Bangkok Taser shot will be a thing. So, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I think it's cool for bars that don't have the square footage to have a mechanical bull. You need to have something that you kind of like.
Maybe they're lacking in their karaoke. So
whatever. Yeah.
When you get shocked, you scream.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, so today what we're going to talk about. So anyways, I guess let me back up. So Mrs. Toast will not be joining us. Chris is got some other stuff going on, and I'm fortunate that you're here because if not, it would just be me talking.
I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast already. This is fun. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
So I want to do a couple of administrative things, and then I want to tell kind of spooky stories about blues musicians.
Cool.
So yeah, and there's a couple things that a lot of you guys know. If there's no one here to read the computer, so it's going to be me. We need to come up with something to figure out like how. If you guys want to tell a story, well, maybe you'll just tell a story and I'll see it. So, but there's a couple of admin things. I've been working on some new classes. One is the Essential Guitar Workshop, where it's a 3-day weekend class where you come out and make a body, and we supply you with the body blank and a neck that's done. It's a licensed neck made by whomever it's going to be. And then you supply all the parts. And then we put your guitar together, we paint it, and you put the neck on, and you build a Strat or a Tele or something. And hold on, because there's more. And after 3 days, you get to take the guitar home, and it's your guitar, and you get to play it.
Ready to go.
It's ready to go. Now this is a 3-day class. You don't get to profile and shape the neck. You don't get to press fret, and the frets are already done. The neck's already shaped. Kind of like if you got an all parts neck,
Sure.
But it's something that we can do in 3 days. The cool thing is it's less money. It's $700. And the even cooler thing, get this. If you want to come back and take it again, so let's say you want to come and build a Tele first. Mm-hmm. You want to come back later and build a Strat, half price.
How can you beat that?
How can you do that?
In today's economy, you cannot pass that up.
Now I can't guarantee that the class is always going to be $700.
No.
But if you want to come out and take the class again, it's half price. So anyway,
I like it.
Yeah. So that's a cool one. I'm working on that right now. I'm also working on build a fabric top guitar class, and by Thursday, guys, we do a Thursday thing. By Thursday, I will have those classes ready to go. You can sign up on Thursday. So, and again, you don't have to pay all at once. You can sign up and reserve your spot.
That part, not having done this because, I just haven't.
Well, actually, you came and built a body with us. You came to one of our inaugural build a body class.
Yeah, I did. But being able to pay a little bit at a time is crucial for a guy like me.
I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but it was like, well, we can make it to where you can pay it off.
There's a lot of people. If I'm going to do one, say in May of next year, I can totally afford to do it if
it's just a little bit at a time.
A little bit of time.
Yeah.
Spread out the pain.
Yeah, then you have to cough up. Like, so some of our classes are $2,500.
Right.
That's a lot to just start
now
throwing
the build a body was exceptional. And being a bass player, I built a jazz body and it was, I took wood shop in high school. Mm-hmm. That was a long, long time ago.
You took wood shop in not far from the Fender factory in high school though, right?
So my wood shop teacher, and I can never remember his name. I never will remember his name.
Yeah.
His wife worked at Fender. And I grew up in Orange County, which is the same county that Fullerton is in. And I was in the city of Orange, which bordered, it'd be like Denver and Aurora, what
a cool town too. We went back.
Oh yeah. We went to the Jamm show all together. Mm-hmm. His wife would collect boxes of bodies that were cut in half and necks that were cut in half from the Fullerton factory for us to practice drilling, routing, learning how to use a table saw. I cut up. I quartered a whole bunch of Telecaster halves back in the day from the actual Fender shop, and it's funny you brought that up. I'd forgot about that, but yeah, so not having cut apart a bunch of old Fenders back in the late 70s to building a body now with Matt and Chris was a lot of fun, and that bass is in the works right now, and looking forward to playing it. And
you're going to have your name on one of the fretboards. You play a lot of our basses, and when we got the inlay rig, I'm like, dude, you got to have your name on the fretboard because that's cool. We got a super chat here from Jeffrey Egan, who is a cool guy. He sent us $5 just to see if we're paying attention.
I like that.
Yeah, just to keep us on our toes.
So now this is kind of like Wizard of Oz. We've pulled back the curtain, and I'm sitting on this side.
Oh yeah,
watching you. Oh, this is how it works.
Yes,
very nice.
Yes. So thank you, Jeffrey, and thank you for everybody who's joining us. It's always cool to do these on Sunday, and I know football's on, but yeah.
Broncos lost, and
did they not do well today?
Yeah, they played at 11, so that's why I didn't get here till 2:30.
Oh, okay. So I have been, like I said, a dear friend of mine and I were talking about canned heat a lot, and I kind of went down. You know how it goes. You go down a wormhole of music on YouTube or whatever. And I was thinking a lot about, like I said, I've always loved canned heat, but I didn't know some of the stories about those guys until much, much later in life. So, for example, Blind Owl from Canned Heat he was always into the blues and
which one was he?
He was the going up the country
vocalist.
A guitar player.
Okay.
So the Bear, everybody in Canned Heat had a nickname except for Vito de la Pata.
Yeah. Because their manager thought it would be cooler.
Yeah. So I had a bunch of one Christmas, my aunt said, "You can go through my record collection." I was like 12, and she's like, "Go through my record collection. You can have everything but the Beatles albums."
And that works for me.
And yeah, and I'm not a mega Beatles fan, which I get it if you are.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
So,
but I took all the Canned Heat albums and I loved them, and Bachman Turner Overdrive. But anyway, Canned Heat, and so I kind of went down the path of the Canned Heat thing, and apparently when that guy started out, he was interviewing some people and he found out that Son House was still alive.
Oh wow.
And he went and found him, and basically he wanted to introduce everybody to Son House, and he's like, but like that guy hadn't played for many years because he just kind of wanted to drift away into alcoholism or something. And
sure.
So the Blind Owl he's the guy with the glasses. He was like, "We got to get you playing again." So he basically taught him all of his own songs again.
Oh, God, I love that.
And yeah,
love that.
So, but he died of a barbiturate overdose. Blind Owl did, not Son House. I don't know what Son House died.
He's still alive.
He may still be.
He's 212.
Yeah, he's 153.
Speaking of making deals with devils.
Yeah. So the Blind Owl died at 27 of a barbiturate overdose, right when Canned Heat was supposed to go on tour. And so I kind of started to think about like the 27 Club, which is people who die when they're 27. And Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison,
Amy Winehouse.
That's right. The Blind Owl and Robert Johnson. Who, if you were a child in the 80s, you may have seen the Ralph Macchio movie.
I have spent my entire life
watching Ralph
avoiding
Macchio
that movie.
Really?
I've never seen it.
Well, I think it's a really fun movie. And there's a lot of neat here. You know what?
Is the guy wax on, wax off? Is that the same?
Mr. Miyagi is not in the movie.
Okay.
No.
So he's not a blues man in this movie.
No.
Okay.
No. But you know what's neat about the Crossroads movie? Not the one with Britney Spears, but the one with Ralph Macchio.
I didn't even know there was one of those.
Is it exposed a lot of people who may not have heard. So Ralph Macchio's in it. And Steve Vai does a lot of the guitar work, but you know who does a bunch of the guitar work in the movie is Ry Cooder. So
Ry Cooder is the man.
So when I was
Social Club.
When I was like 16, when that movie came out, my guitar teacher was like, "You got to see this; it's really fun." Well, and so I watched the movie and I'm like, "Wow, Steve Vai is so rad!" And then I'm like, "I wonder who's playing the stuff that's not Steve Vai playing." Because Ralph Macchio was not the guitar player. Turns out it was Ry Cooder. So it's neat if a movie or anything like that can expose you to something cool that you wouldn't necessarily know about. That's a good thing, right?
I am all about that. And there's so many things that people, if it's not cool, like that movie, to my thinking, and a lot of people I know, it's not cool. But if it exposed somebody to the blues that otherwise would not have had that exposure, that is a huge plus in my book. Pick an artist. There's a lot of current blues people or blues people in the last 20 years that kind of get a hard knock from the purists. I could be one of those purists, i.e. prick at times. But yet, if that, like me, if that got you to go, oh, I wonder who his favorite was. And watching the Metallica video, I'm straying here a second.
Oh, wow.
Was it Some Kind of Monster? He was talking about, well, who influences these guys? So then these guys ask who influenced them, and they were into Zeppelin, and Zeppelin was into so-and-so.
Billy Gibbons calls it peeling back the onion.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was into the Stones as a kid. And you look at the records and it says H. Wolf, Howlin' Wolf.
Who's that?
Or it's the bass player, what's his name? Upright bass player, I'm forgetting right now. But the Chess Records guy. I mean, all these, if it can take you to that next level, not the level above, but the level below, and then the level below that.
Sure. It's a dig a little deeper. It's a cool thing. And that's one of the neat things about music, I think. And cinema too. Yeah.
My family is a music family. My brother's in the business, so to speak. He has a website that writes all about blues music constantly and has a little, if you want to hear a Larry Taylor story.
Okay. I've heard your Larry Taylor story. Yeah.
And there's a couple more that I've come
Alias
up
the Mole.
Yeah, Larry the Mole Taylor. If it takes you into a realm that you get enjoyment from, regardless of who it is, that's a good thing, because enjoyment, music, are life to me. And my mother was a lifelong musician.
That's right. What a neat lady.
Chris got to play piano with her.
Very cool. We got another super chat, man. Can I preempt you? We got a super chat from one of the Dangerous Brothers. Dastardly Dave coughed up $5 to say, my one shop teacher was a big jerk. He taught me how not to act. Thanks, Mr. McDonald. That's I have a lot of shop my old shop teacher actually came to my shop.
Really?
Yeah. Lindy Hopper came to my shop, and it was really great to see him again. Anyway,
I like that story.
Yeah, that's a cool one. So I'm sorry, but yeah, you're right. Peeling back the onion and getting so the movie Crossroads with Ralph Macchio was about a real guy. It was based on the story of a real guy, Robert Johnson, who was a wildly popular musician. And has kind of a colored past, because it is rumored that he was he was a novice guitar player. And at the Dockery farm where like Son House would, we work his day job, and Robert Johnson was this kid, and he, hey, check me out. I'm not very good.
Right.
And he disappeared, and he came back, and all of a sudden he was awesome. And he would like hide. He would like turn around so nobody could see what he was doing. Was the thing that he would
his craft?
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people figured that he sold his soul to the devil for the ability to play the guitar
at the Crossroads.
Yeah. Now the story goes, he went to the Crossroads at midnight. Now, one of the things that I didn't know,
not 11:45.
No. Well, he might have stayed there. But there is an actual thing. You guys can look this up. There's a blues trail, and you can kind of follow a lot of this stuff in the Mississippi and Tennessee
like
area.
66 and 54.
But there's a bunch of blues things, and there's books you can read and websites you can follow. You can kind of trace a lot of this history.
Yeah.
And at the near the Dockery farm, there is alleged that there is this crossroads not far, about a quarter of a mile from an old cemetery. And that's where Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil. And the story goes that he went there at midnight with his guitar, and this shadowy figure took his guitar and tuned it for him and said, when I give you your guitar back, and you accept it, that's you selling me your soul, but you're going to be a really good guitar. But now it's a little bit spooky, right?
I like it.
It's a little bit, you might have some goosebumps right now. Digging a little deeper, though, Liddell Johnson, Tommy Johnson's brother. Tommy Johnson, by the way, wrote a song called Long Road Blues. And Canned Heat did a version of that. That's the one, and Blind Owl sings on, I ain't going down that long old lonesome road all by myself.
You do that very well.
I've had a lot of practice.
While you were driving down to
no, they don't call it that. They call it the something road blues. But Tommy Johnson, Tommy Johnson's brother Liddell in the 70s said that he had actually sold his soul too. And I wondered how many people thought that the actual Robert Johnson story the Robert Johnson myth is actually the Tommy Johnson myth.
Or the devil is in the business of collecting multiple souls.
Well, so then I went down another wormhole, and like you can look up YouTube videos of all these artists who sold their souls, and yeah, I don't know if they did or didn't, but yeah.
Well, I showed up here 7 or 8 years ago, the original shop.
Yeah.
And you promised me I'd be a better bass player if I got one of your basses.
And
I'm not sure what you're doing with my soul.
I promised you that your tone would be up to 7%. You'd have 7% more tone. Yeah. That was easy. You just had to get the bass. You didn't have to sell me your soul.
Okay, so I still have that.
Yeah. Well, as far as it does not belong to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Tommy Johnson was also the name of the character. I'm sure you've seen the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I hate to admit it, to say I have not.
Oh, that's surprising to me.
Everybody tells me, you haven't? You've got to see that movie.
I
love George Clooney.
Sure.
I mean, platonically. I mean, not in a
it's a great movie. But, and lots of good music. But there's a guitar player who sold his soul to the devil, and his name is Tommy Johnson, but I think everyone wants to believe that's Robert Johnson. So anyway, I urge you guys to kind of go down the path of some of these old blues guitar player or harmonica or singers or whatever. And
there's a lot of cool blues bass players too.
There are a lot of cool blues bass players.
Little side note on Larry Taylor. His brother is Mel Taylor, the drummer for the Ventures.
I did not know that.
Original drummer.
Wow. Okay.
By virtue of that, Larry Taylor got a lot of studio work, and Larry the Mole from Canned Heat played on a bunch of the Monkees records.
Really?
And was the bass player.
That's
so there's
fun.
a little.
That's
fun.
not exactly hair raising, but it's a good story.
No, but I mean, if I'm trying to tie it in. I have nothing.
Well, there's a lot of talk about Canned Heat because so many people in Canned Heat died young, and a couple guys died fairly recently. And Canned Heat is such a great band.
Larry Taylor just passed away about
fairly recently, within the last
2 or 3 years ago.
I think it's been longer than that.
And if you want to know about that world, and he ended up playing with who I think is a spooky guy, that singer, and now I'm drawing a blank. I'll get it in a second. But go to Blues Junction Productions.
Is that your brother's website?
Yeah, bluesjunctionproductions.com.
Okay.
And go to the archives and look at his interview and chat with Larry Taylor, who, by the way, I've met Larry Taylor a couple times and could not have been a nicer
guy. That's
great, fantastic guy.
They say don't meet your heroes,
Waits.
but Tom Waits. Yeah, that guy.
He played on almost everything Tom Waits did.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, in the last 20 years, everything Tom Waits did, he was on that. So I
Cool.
consider Tom Waits kind of spooky.
He's kind of a spooky guy. A lot of his music is definitely eerie.
So he played on all that. You see, anytime you see Tom Waits on Letterman, that's Larry Taylor on the upright.
All right.
On the upright in the back.
All right, cool.
So
excellent.
There's another little fun fact.
So do you know any? You don't have to deep dive into it.
Right.
I did a little prep work before the show, so I had some talking.
My prep work is walking in here and we ate cured meats and cultured cheeses,
and then I threw you to the wolves. You guys are the wolves.
Yeah, and look how uncomfortable I am. As far as blues stories and blues men, and I'm not you should call me a blues man or blues person. I am not. I grew up in Orange County.
You're an aficionado.
My blues were if my swimming pool was below 72, man. I got the blues. Well, I got blue ball. There's so many different aspects I think about when I think of the blues. I think of listening to serious hard blues makes a lot of people feel better, which is the ironic part of it all. And sometimes letting it out and telling the world or writing a song or listening to blues somehow relieves you of that pressure that the blues really are. It's the pressure of the world beating down on you, and then it lifts you up.
So we have a couple of comments from the people here. Tony asks, "Hey Matt, is it possible to sell your soul to become a master guitar builder?"
Oh, absolutely.
Did Leo Fender sell his soul? And then people have said, Jesse says it only makes you a better looking bass player to sell your soul.
Then apparently I didn't.
And Beavis Christ wants to know, where's Fesker? So let's answer those in the reverse order. Chris has some family in town. His sister came to visit him. So he was unable to make it today. Chris is not. He has not sold his soul to work here in the shop, so he can do whatever he wants.
Right. And I am most certainly in no way, shape, or form a replacement and or regular on this show.
Chris will be back. That's right.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Do you think it's possible to sell your soul to be a better guitar builder?
No. I'll tell you why.
Okay. Let me tell you something. Okay.
You kids. I've watched what you do here. This is going to be a guy who plays Texas Toast basses 100 nights a year live for money. And for money. Let's I just don't jam. Yeah. I go out and I've got a band and I run a band and I play it all the time.
You guys have heard the Outliers on a lot of the videos.
Yeah. So you've played some of our stuff and time in the game, the 10,000 hours, whatever you want to call it. There is no magic. And I know it's Halloween joke-ish kind of thing.
Sure.
Sell your soul, but it's time in the game. It's practicing your craft, watching what you have done since I've met you.
Sure.
And
because you can measure how long you and I have known each other in years,
7 or 8 years.
But yeah.
And how the product that you put out then versus now, not that they were substandard. The first bass you made me
that's still is
my number one.
Yeah.
It's in the car.
Oh.
I continuously play what you build, and I have continuously people come up to me and talk about it and ask me where I got it. And in fact, I have it on the back of my business card.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I play your stuff. It's because he and Chris have put the time in from, you doing this and that and the other, and Chris with the finishes. I mean, the finishes are just stunning. Like the other one with the monkey grip green on the back. That one gets, I've been playing that one a ton lately.
Lips. Honky lips.
Yeah,
from
it
Vacation.
It looks like the. I thought it was going to be Antarctic blue. The one from Vacation. It's got the wood top and a green back, so it looks very traditional in the front, but it looks crazy from the back.
Yeah.
There's no magic bullet. There's no quick fix. And that comes with almost anything that if you want to be good in that craft, you have to spend the time.
One thing though that I can tell you is that every relationship I have has been affected by my decision to build guitars for a living.
Positive and or negative?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it comes up in conversation all the time. When I meet new people, it's a jumping off point, and it's something that I come back to over and over again. Ask anyone who I've met in the last few months. That's a big deal. Conversely, anyone who I've known my whole life, I have to go to work. Gosh, Matt, you sure do work a lot. You work all the time. You need to take a break. And my answer is always the same. I cannot take a break. Because the rent doesn't pay itself.
Right.
Right. So. And
I see similarities in, like, say, working musicians. Well, goddamn, can't we have a Friday night to go hang out together? Said an ex-girlfriend. No, I've got a gig. How about tomorrow? No, I've got a gig. How about Sunday? Oh, I'm doing an afternoon show. How about Tuesday? I'm doing a patio gig.
There are people that like say that some ladies call themselves golf widows, but that's definitely a real thing.
And I golf, so there you go.
That's definitely.
I would sell my soul to be a better golfer.
Well, now careful where you say that because
old Babe Lynn might take me up on it.
Let's see. So Frost, guys, I'm not going to be able to go back and look at everything, but from your OC, did you play in any metal bands back in the 80s? I'm not sure what OC means.
Oh, Orange County.
Oh, okay.
No. And I'll tell you, my path is a little different. So obviously the devil was not involved in and or cared about my soul. I played a bunch in high school, had an old Gibson EBO.
Yeah. By the way, if for those of you who are wanting to know where the EBO project is, Mac wants to know too.
That's my bass. I bought that. I played a bit in high school and I did a number of things. I played in a few bands, got one night
Were you the butthole who modified that bass?
Yes, I was.
You're gonna smoke a turd in hell for that.
Yeah. I cut that sucker up like you wouldn't believe. Man, I thought I was the coolest. I had everybody with a hacksaw and a router going after
and
that
a butter
thing.
Knife and
everything I did, it still didn't sound like a Fender P. But now I have a Texas Toast bass that sounds better.
You have lots and lots of basses.
I do have 9.
But I remember you telling me stories from when you were growing up that like you would see bands at house parties that people would go on to later know very, very well.
I saw Van Halen at a house party in like Alhambra, one of the mid cities, Bellflower, one of those Hawaiian Gardens, all these little towns that were between LA and Orange County. Mm-hmm. I saw grew up. I graduated high school in '79. I went to every great punk show there was to see between '79 and 85 at the Whiskey, the Roxy, Madame Wong's, the Palomino, the On Club.
Well, that's Starwood. Black Flag used to talk about playing at the Starwood.
Oh, the Starwood. The Cuckoo's Nest was a big one. Okay. I may or may not have been arrested by the police outside of that club one time.
I haven't been arrested since 1992.
Yeah. So, no, I left California in 86, and I never got into metal. I've either listened to blues, listened to punk rock, listened to classic rock, which was back then popular music, and now blues. I'm a giant jazz fan. I love old school bop, so that dates me. But no, I never did any metal in the city of Orange. Gave up playing music for 25-ish years, and was between jobs and pulled out the old EBO and started doing jam sessions in the late 90s and decided, well, maybe I'll just tiptoe into this. And within a couple of years, I was not tiptoeing anymore. I was dead into it.
You were stampeding.
And I ended up within a few years of starting back up a number of bands. I went to Jimmy's house and borrowed his SVT 810 and played a sold-out show at Red Rocks.
And didn't you borrow his upright bass too?
No, I didn't borrow it, but his band at the time played, either we opened up for them or they opened up for us, 18-Wheeler and the Informants.
Okay.
At Herman's Hideaway. And his bass was there, and I don't know if I picked it up or he urged me on, but I remember playing one song on it, and I'm not an upright player, and then put it back down.
It's a whole different head.
It's a whole different ballgame. So I've been in the game hardcore for 22 years now-ish. But left the game completely, raised a family, did all that stuff, and I've got 2 wonderful boys. And
now you're full throttle again.
I am back in it, hardcore.
We got another super chat.
Yay!
From Doc Siltonen. The benefits of being self-employed: you can take all the time off that you want. You just don't get paid. Doc.
Amen.
You know as well as anybody that is 100% true. You
turn this ringer off.
I can't not come to the shop. It is very, very difficult for me to not at least come here and do something every day, even if it's for a few minutes. It's just something that it's arrogant of me to think that everybody else will want to do that. And so if you're wondering where Chris is spending the weekend with his sister, and she's going to be here all week. He'll be here this week. We've got a bunch of stuff happening, but he and Beth are doing stuff, and I don't know what it is, but they're having a good time. So that's
what that's called, Matt?
What's that?
Passion.
Yes.
You have a passion for Texas Toast guitars, and you have a passion for your craft. And you have.
And that is not to say that Chris doesn't.
No.
But I don't want anyone to take that wrong.
I met these guys both on the same day.
Yeah.
So I know them as many days equally. Mm-hmm. It's not saying that. And the only reason I'm sitting here is just out of the blue.
It's just kismet. Yeah.
Bad dumb luck.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Is the fact that there's a passion that goes into, and anything that you see out there that you're like, damn it, that's a cool widget. It's made because someone had a passion for that widget and they didn't take that day off.
I hope so. Yeah. I always say that I only work half days.
Well, you drink beer with me the rest of the time.
So I work 12 hours at least every day.
Well, that's half a day.
Half a day.
You slacker.
Let's say Carl wants to know, did you play Cuckoo's Nest, Rendezvous, and those places?
I never played those. I was not good enough. My younger brother, John, played the Cuckoo's Nest multiple times with a band called the Lobsters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back in the late 70s, early 80s. And I believe they were scheduled to play that night, and we both got arrested.
Oh, dang it. My very good friend, the other half of the Dangerous Brothers, Doug Santaniello, says, I have a passion for TT guitars too, and Doug does. I think.
Does he have more than me?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Doug has. No one has more Texas Toast guitars than Doug. And God
bless you, Doug.
Doug's going to come back in November, and he's going to build a rockabilly bow with us, and it's going to be wildly fun. You know why? Who's down with TTG? Yeah, you know me. You don't know what that is, but
I do not.
Yeah.
One of these days I do want to. I've been not doing it because I don't want to muddy the waters, but I'd love to come over here, like at the final, after you've done the reveal video and all that, and see everybody at the shop, because I love seeing what happens within a week. And I've not been able to do it, but I'm going to do that.
It's remarkable what happens
assembly
in 5 days.
The assembly.
Oh, the essential guitar
build
workshop
weekend.
3-day weekend. Yeah.
I want to do that because.
Do you think we should do that like on a regularly scheduled 3-day weekend, like Labor Day?
I think there's probably a certain group of people that don't come because they can't.
5 days is a long time.
And if you do work for yourself, you can take as much time off as you want.
Yeah.
If you don't want to get paid.
Yeah.
I am in a position where if I don't work, I don't get paid. I would think, and now that you mentioned, I didn't even know it was coming up. That's something I would look at.
Well, that's a brand new thing.
If I take 1 day off, it's not going to kill me.
Okay.
I could pick up some hours to make it work.
Okay.
And then the price is not too bad. And I've already done the 1 day guitar.
So you're not like
yeah. So I mean, that to me, I think is and again, I love being involved in playing your stuff, but I'd love to be involved in kind of the pickup winding pickup thing.
That's right. Yeah. So that's a thing that's happening in May too. Our friend Dylan McCurchie will be here all the month of May 2022, and we have 3 or 4 pickup winding 2-day pickup winding classes with Dylan, and that's a neat thing.
I want to do the build on the cream colored Fender P and Jazz, doing the old
that'd be rad.
70s style.
Cage Paps wants to know, what's your favorite headstock shape? Obviously, the reverse banana is the best.
Oh, is that banana? Is that the?
I
thought that's a hockey stick.
Well, there's
the hockey stick is a Fender 12.
No, well, that's that kind of weird sore dick headstock is definitely has a hockey thing.
Bad cut.
Yeah, I think that the hockey stick is something that was kind of made popular with that Super Strat thing. But I know what you mean, though. That Fender Electric 12 had that kind of weird, nub on it. So what do you, as a bass player, what's one of your favorite?
Well, okay, so
because you and I have a very different take on a lot of things, but we also have a lot of things that we have in common.
Okay, so being a old school Fender geek, starting with growing up right down the street, knowing that Fender was there even before I started playing.
That's gotta be cool.
You just know Fender was there. It was a thing. Growing up in Southern California, you had all the cool stuff. You had Fender. Rickenbacker was there.
Okay.
They were in Santa Ana at the same time.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that. So anyway, what I like now, personally, and it's not a crazy. Take it how you like it. But I love your design on the headstock you do now for the Texas Toast, because people come up to me and go, what is that? That's an interesting headstock. And we've
made a lot of counterfeit things.
Oh, and I've got a couple of them.
Yeah.
Reason being gives me an opportunity to talk about this shop, talk about the relationship we have, talk about what I like about basses. And it is an homage to me to a classic style.
Yeah.
We'll leave names out, but I like it, and it works for me. I'm a 4 on the side guy.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Unless you flip them upside down, which I have one of those too.
But he's still on the side. Yeah.
But they're still 4 on the side. That's my thing. I've only owned 1, 2 on the side, and that's the EBO sitting right behind us.
I made a bass for a friend of mine who really wanted a 4001. And I'm like, well, I've never made one. Let's make a couple. And when she plays it, people are always like, wow, that Rickenbacker's so awesome. And I'm like, yeah, so awesome. And a mutual friend of ours, Paul Shellooe, is fond of saying that good artists borrow, great artists steal. But I can no longer, well, first of all, I can no longer make the Fender headstock. Now, if you come to a class, you can make whatever headstock you want.
But you're not putting your name on it.
I cannot. Oh, no, I'll put whatever you want on.
Okay.
But you're making it for you.
Right.
I cannot make a Fender headstock because the good people at Fender have asked me very enthusiastically not to do so.
Enthusiastically.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I think taking, like, if you look at great artists, there was not just one cubist. There was multiple people doing cubism.
Mm-hmm.
There was not one person doing realism. There was not one person doing impressionism.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one guitar builder. But if you take and pay an homage to a certain shape,
mm-hmm.
a certain look, that is creating your own, but yet kind of a nod to the past, a nod to the masters. Yeah. And that's, to me, what you're doing now is you've created your own look on your 3 on a side. You've mm-hmm. created your own look on the 4 on a side for the basses that I play. And I like now. I kind of wish my first one, which was I
kind of wish too that it had our.
It doesn't have
it has a regular Fender headstock.
Yeah, if it did, I kind of wish it did. That way, it gives it more. I don't want to say legitimacy, but it gives it more of the nod to what's happening right here in the shop.
But it's a moment in time, which is cool too.
It is a very much, and it's a moment in time of the old shop.
Yeah,
it wasn't even built in this shop.
No. Yeah.
So
speaking of all the artist people, I have a minor in art history, so I know all about Picasso and Braque. By the way, that I'm if like a bunch of museum curators are all on the same plane, I might be able to get a job doing that, or Merv Griffith's Pool Boy. I think I like do that.
Well, Merv Griffith's Pool Boy probably gets more action. He gets a lot more action.
Apparently, Braque and Picasso were so tight that and
now Braque was his pool boy.
No. Braque was another cubist, and he would come up with all these great ideas, and then Picasso would blow them up. Chris and I are a little bit like Picasso, but they used to wear overalls and call each other Orville and Wilbur.
Oh,
when they would go to bars. Yeah, and Braque used to carry a revolver in his pocket and punctuate his sentences with them. But he was in the First World War and kind of lost a lot of kind of didn't come back the same guy.
That happens.
Anyway, let's see. Hey, Jimmy is here. He says, "Happy Sunday, y'all. Very cool to see Mac, great bass player and friend of TTG." Yeah, so very cool.
I am. And hey, thanks again for letting me borrow your 810 Ampeg for Red Rocks.
What's the coolest bass amp?
The SVT, the Ampeg SVT, the giant, the full size, full power head in the 810 cabinet is the greatest sounding amp you'll ever play. I've played them,
and it makes guys with full Marshall stacks run and cry because their amp isn't as loud.
It will liquefy your lower GI. It is crushingly good at any volume and debilitating at high volumes.
Yeah.
Yet I will never ever take one anywhere.
If you play as often as you do, moving that damn
I own a Fender Rumble. Yeah. It's in the back of my car.
Okay.
And it's 210s. It's D class power, and it's 36 pounds.
Yeah,
which is about half of the. Well, it's not even.
It's about a third of the head.
It's probably an eighth of the total package of it.
So my SVT head weighs 95 pounds just for the amplifier.
Yeah. But you cannot beat the power, the sound, and it was plenty enough for Red Rocks.
You've played through my SVT.
I have. I played through your SVT at the old that bar that's no longer.
Benders, yeah.
Yeah, when you got Johnny Love to help you play that Chicago song with Hawkins.
Yes.
Borrowed my saxophone player and put him on.
There's trombone. a little known show. There was a blizzard that night.
Huge blizzard.
And Hawk Attack did a Chicago song because
Hawk Attack. One person came out to see us. It was a golfing buddy of mine.
But God, it was fun. And we had Mark played trumpet and Johnny Love played saxophone?
No, he played trombone.
Trombone. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So and Paul Shellooe played second guitar, and Kerry Pastine sang. I played bass, and Magic Mike played drum, and it was so much fun.
Oh, great show.
Yeah, lots and lots of fun. So all right, let's go back to the thing here and see what
got some more chats.
Doc says, I watched Gary Love play 3 SBT stacks in a little club in my hometown. So loud, you could even drink beer. It would foam up in your stomach. You couldn't even drink. Okay, yeah. Can you imagine it? 3 SVT stacks.
So I turned 60 this year, so I have a little bit of perspective as far as old school rock and roll is. Mm-hmm. When I look at pictures and I see some of the shows I went to or remember some of the shows, because I most certainly can't hear anymore. When I see like pictures of Hendrix or the Who, and they've got like 6 high watts in a row.
Yeah.
And or 6 Marshall stacks in a row, and the bass player's got 4 SVTs. And the mic and the singer's got a microphone and 2 little tiny columns.
Yeah, little bitty.
It's like, how shitty must have those shows been? How awful those were. But yet it was just nothing but raw power.
Because raw power has a lot to be said for it. I've been in those bands, and you have too, where you spend way more on the cool gear and way less on the PA. So yeah.
But now today we are in such a great spot. I control my I do in-ears, and I control my my personal sound because we have.
Oh, you have in-ears?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got wireless in-ears now, and I've got my tablet. And I set it off to the side, and I can build my own mix.
That's pretty neat.
And it's bring the volume down, and it's fantastic. But I still have an amp because I like to feel a little bit of oomph behind me.
Frosted Head says you don't play an SVT; it plays you.
I agree. Play SVT play you.
Let's see. SVTs keep Canadian bass players warm in the winter. All right, we're almost done here.
I know.
Ryan Ellis says, if you can find an Ampeg SVP Pro tube amp, it's the same preamp as the SVT and a newer, lighter weight, solid state power amp for the lead. I don't like. This is just an answer for that. It's just me. I like the power tube. Hey, this is a small hand. I like the power tube saturation, but yeah.
So I owned a Bugera for a couple of years, which is a BR2 knockoff or whatever that.
Okay.
So it had that MOSFET preamp tube setup, if I'm correct on this. And then it had a regular solid state power amp or vice versa. I can't remember. And it was heavy, but it sounded great. And it was half the price of an Ampeg.
Yeah.
But I ended up selling it because I didn't want to carry a separate amp and cabinet.
Jim Jimmy used to play through 2 SVT 300 watt heads and 2 810s and 2 210s
on top of that.
Yeah.
And I used to watch that. We walked into a little, Kerry Pastine and I, Jimmy will remember this. There was a cigar bar down in Lone Tree called the Robusto Room or whatever it's called. And he had that set up or close to it. And I'm
2010s and 600 watts of SVT.
And I'm just like, this is swinging dick material. But I gotta respect it.
Yeah.
Respect it.
Yeah.
And I think everybody else in the room respected it. He scared people.
As Doug has pointed out.
I think it's actually pretty damn cool and ballsy to do.
It's absolutely cool. Doug says he was so stoned, the only thing that mattered was the vibration. Let me tell you, an SVT will probably cause an involuntary bowel movement.
Did I not mention liquefying a lower GI earlier?
You mentioned it. Yep. Let's see. Carl says, I played a few bands with SVTs. I always tried to hide at moving time. That's the only way to go. I never played. I don't have an 810. I don't have a fridge cabinet. I have the SVT. I have 2 410s, and I have 2 15s, and I have a 1 210. So I'll mix and match the cabinets
depending on the room.
Yeah, depending on the room.
Well, and this, kind of maybe all ties back into maybe the devil. This is what, kind of he likes people with a shaken internal core, because the SVT most certainly will do that.
William wants to know, what about Gary Moore? Do you have any? Gary Moore is such a great guitar player. He's played with everybody, from Thin Lizzy to his own band, and back again. I don't think he gets the same. He don't think he gets the same props that he like.
Did he sell a soul to the devil though?
He may have, but I don't think he got the same comeuppance as Aaron Claflin or
I'll go ahead. Like you always do. Here comes the typing.
Here comes you can hear the typing.
Eric Clapton is the most overrated guy ever to step on stage, if you ask me.
Now let's jump back.
At the time when he was one of a few, fabulous. There's been 100,000 million more since then that do a better job at what he's been doing for the last X amount of years. I think that
Eric Clapton doesn't have his own style.
No,
I think that Aaron Claflin can play anything he wants.
Does he have a Christmas album?
He has a Christmas album.
Yeah.
If it weren't for Muddy Waters and Bo Diddley, Eric Clapton would still be in art school.
Or Freddie King.
Yeah.
And
but let's circle back around before we end this live stream.
Yes.
Let's talk about another grisly, spooky story, and that is Eric Clapton. Have you ever noticed that everybody who hangs out with Eric Clapton dies?
Okay. With the exception of Jimmy Vaughn. Jimmy Vaughn and Eric Clapton are really good friends.
Well, Stevie Ray was on tour with Eric Clapton when he died.
That's where I was going with this.
Duane Allman died in Duane Allman. There's a weird thing with like Duane Allman's motorcycle wreck that like a year before something weird happened. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, Duane Allman. Yeah, because Duane Allman played the slide on Layla for.
Remember, he had those notes that were like that only dogs could hear. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Duane Allman, just unbelievable.
Yep.
Clapton. Yeah, I guess that is true. I never thought about that.
I don't think that I will ever have to worry about hanging out with Eric Clapton, but I think that
he never met a Freddie King guitar solo he couldn't rip off.
If you guys are in a position to hang out with Eric Clapton, I would say don't do it for too long. Just
for your own personal safety.
Yeah.
No, Eric Clapton fit a need at a time and put out some great records. I'm
sure.
Far be it from me with my little local band to.
You know what Mrs. Toast likes to say about Aaron Claflin?
Aaron Claflin?
You know what Coffee and Aaron Claflin have in common?
No.
They both suck without cream.
Perfect.
I loved cream.
I like power trios.
Sure, yeah. Who was not to like?
But when you look at the guitar players from the time or people that didn't get enough love, Roy Gallagher, there's a number of people out there, but
like guitar players get it.
Pete Townsend just crushed it. Pete Townsend was the man in a contemporary. Jimi Hendrix at the time was a contemporary. Just crushed it. Did things that never had been done before with that. So I think that's from a standpoint of what really moves the needle. He didn't really, other than was perpetually popular, and that's not a bad thing. When you're Eric Clapton, you can afford yachts and watches and a lot of stuff.
And George Harrison's old lady. George
Harrison, underrated.
I'm gonna deep dive into, and I want you guys to do this too, because it's getting on about time for Halloween and it's time for kind of spooky scary stories. I'm gonna deep dive into who Eric Clapton has what musicians Eric Clapton has been associated with who've died too young. Because I think there's probably some crazy stories. Maybe Eric Clapton did a little soul selling. I can't say.
Or there's people that hung out with Keith Richards and somehow rubbed up against him and lived
got a little bit of juju.
Live longer than they should have.
Yeah. Did you know Andy Summers from The Police is
great guitar player. Would
you guess he is younger than Keith Richards?
I would think he is.
He's older than Keith Richards.
No shit.
By about a year, yeah.
I'll be damned.
Yep.
Keith Richards and the great Bobby Keys, saxophone player on all those great songs back in the day, were born on the same day of the same year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That's and they paid for when he died. They paid, the Rolling Stones paid for his funeral.
Oh, that's cool.
As they did Hubert Sumlin.
Jim says that everyone who hangs out with Triple J lives. That's reason enough right there.
Just don't taste me too hard. I have a heart condition.
The Bangkok Taser.
Right, I don't have a heart condition, but I don't want to get one.
Well, guys, if you want to hang out with at the JJJ Test Kitchen or at the Upright Lounge, I'm sure that Jim and Leslie would be happy to have you come over to their home.
Small application process, a screening. It's a little bit of a screening process.
Not too bad. Not a big deal at all.
If you get in.
Yeah, I somehow or another got in. I got everybody fooled. So, well, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Mac, it's great to see you because I haven't seen you for a long, long time.
Been busy.
Thank you for doing the live stream with me.
Thank you. Well, it was great to be asked. It was completely unknown.
It was
unprepared.
And I kind of tossed you to the wolves. So, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great week. Lots of new classes coming up. They're going to be there. I'll announce them formally on Thursday, but I'll probably have them out before then. And I got a new video. I just edited it today. New video coming out early tomorrow morning. So stick around stay tuned for that one. And until next time, this is Matt from Texas Toast.
And I'm Mac with the Outliers Band. You should listen to Early T-Birds.
Yeah, you should.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out, Mac. Guys, have a great week. And remember, if you're so smart, start your own YouTube channel. That's what I did. Guys, we'll see you. We've got so many good things happening very, very, very soon coming up. All right.